It's interesting. Both of them, Jesus says to the sheep, I was hungry, you gave me food. Thirsty, you gave me something to drink. And they said, Lord, when did we see you that way? When did we see you hungry or thirsty? You see, for the sheep, they're connected with Jesus, and so it naturally occurs that they help those in need, that they care for those around them. Unfortunately, the same holds true for the goats, right? They don't know when they saw Jesus. They were blind to Jesus in the stranger, in the person who was naked and hungry and needing clothing. They were blind to him. I think we can push the analogy that Jesus gives too far, because sheep and goats can't change back and forth to one another, can they? If you're a sheep, if it's a sheep, they can't become a goat. If it's a goat, they can't become a sheep. But for us, there are times when all of us are sheep, and there are times when all of us are goats. And we don't know which one's which, just like Jesus said. But there is one group of people in this text that we are, all from time to time. We are the least of these. You notice when I read the gospel reading, I changed it slightly from what was in the text. The text says, truly I tell you, just as you did it to the least of these who are members of my family, you did it to me. But a better translation is this. Truly I tell you, just as you did it to the least of these, my brothers and sisters, you did it to me. Each and every one of you is a sister, a brother of Christ. You have been joined to Christ in the waters of baptism, in that font. You have been connected with Jesus into an eternal relationship with Him. You are His brothers and sisters. And from time to time, each one of us will be the least of these, won't we? There will be times when we are hungry and needing food, thirsty and needing something to drink, on and on. We'll be in that place. A couple of weeks ago, our family found ourselves in that situation as Mary Grace was in the hospital. And I called Sunday afternoon, she's in there, and said, how are things going? Because I was doing work at the church and elsewhere. And they said, there's a party going on in here. There's so many people visiting. You were there. You were there, caring for Mary Grace, who at that moment was the least of these. How many times have I gone to visit somebody in the hospital and there's someone already there? I can't count it. In fact, there was one time a couple of months ago, I walked into Bluffton Regional Hospital. There are 4 of you standing there. And I'm like, great, let's have a council meeting. We're all here. Well, it wasn't a council, but anyway, let's have a church meeting. We're all here. 2 of you had already gone to see Dick Schaefer. 2 of you were going to see him, and I went with you all to see him. The thing is, when we serve the least of these, those Jesus' brothers and sisters who are the least of these, we find that it brings us great joy. We don't need to do it out of fear that we're going to end up being the goat. No, we do it because it's wonderful to be together with our brothers and sisters in need. If I'm having a down week here at church, and there are times when I feel kind of down in the dumps, Amy knows this, the best way for me to get out of my blues is to go visit folks. That's the best way. Spending time with those who are hungry or thirsty, feeding the poor, caring for the sick, reaching out to those who are the least. That's the best way to do it. There's great joy in that. And we find that in so doing that, we are participating in God's reign of love. Not only that, we anticipate the final day where God's reign of love is complete, when everyone is cared for, where there is no more least, there is no more hunger, no more thirst, no more crying, no more pain, because God is our shepherd and feeds us and walks with us. We get a foretaste of that feast today at the altar. We get a foretaste of that moment where we will all be fed. Because truth is, we all come hungry, don't we? There's a wonderful hymn called We Come to the Hungry Feast. So true. We all come hungry. And the one who hungered on our behalf, who hungered and thirsted for righteousness, He will feed us with his very own body. The one who cried out from the cross, "I thirst," will give us his very blood to drink. The body and blood of his very life. What joy there is in seeing him here. For he was the least of these, wasn't he, on that cross? We see him here. We also see him in one another. And we see him in the least of these in the world. What joy there is in serving him.